Hey there, Scott here with YourBoatMoney.com, and today I want to talk to you about interest rates. Welcome back. Again, Scott here with YourBoatMoney.com, and today we're going to talk about interest rates. It is the number one question that I get, and it is the main reason why I actually created YourBoatMoney.com was to help answer this question. The very first tab besides the homepage is Let's Talk Rates. It is the number one question that I get asked, Scott, what are your rates? So if you ask me, I'm basically going to give you this same script. I'm going to ask you questions from this page that lead us to what your boat rate is going to be. It is not easy for me to answer the question, what is your rate? Because I write for so many different banks. I don't have just one bank, right? So if you walked into your local brick and mortar bank and said, I'm looking to buy a boat and what are your rates today? That brick and mortar bank is going to say, hey, we're offering 7.99% on boat loans. Awesome. You walk out the door, you call someone else or you see someone else's website and you say, hey, what are your boat rates today? And they say, well, 8.49%. Well, you only have part of the story, right? Your local bank may have only been offering a 6-year term, and they may only write for a boat that's up to 6 years old, where the person you spoke to on the phone or saw their website offering an 8.49 might write for a 15-year term or 20-year term. There are other questions to ask besides what are your rate. You feel free to read this. We'll go through this in a second, but I'm going to skip right to the meat of this, if you will. Here are the different types of loans that are available and some of the current rates as of September 2023. Refinance loans, loans under $25,000, loans $25,000 to $50,000, loans $50,000 to $150,000, repower and outboard financing, loans over $150,000, and private money loans. As a general rule, loans under $150,000 do not require income verification unless you own more than 25% of your own business. Then the banks can ask for it. Now, with that being said, the banks can ask for income verification anytime they want to, right? They're the bank. He who has the gold makes the rule. Isn't that the rule? The golden rule? And the banks are the ones with the gold here, so they're the ones making the rule. If they decide that they want to ask for income verification for whatever reason, they certainly can. But as a general rule, under 150. We do have 2 banks now that are offering stated income up to $200,000 with certain limitations. So the reason that we have these breaks, $25,000 to $50,000, $50,000 to $150,000. Some of my banks will not write in this $25,000 and under category. That isn't a loan that they want to write. Some of my banks won't write for under $50,000, right? So let's call it Bank A is writing loans from $50,000 to $150,000. Well, so is Bank B and Bank C, but Bank A won't write below $50,000. So I can't pull from the interest rate rules of Bank A if we're going into the $25,000 to $50,000 category or the under $25,000 category. Refinance loans, I only have a couple of banks right now that are even offering refinances, and they start at $75,000, right? So if you have a loan of $50,000 on your boat, I don't have a bank to offer you that's going to write a refinance. They also require that your loan be seasoned for at least 1 year, meaning that you couldn't have bought this boat 3 months ago and gotten a 14.99% rate and then decide today that I can offer you an 11.99 or a 9.99 or an 8.99 and you want to refinance it. Our banks are going to require that it have been seasoned with the current bank for at least 1 year. If you have refinance questions, give me a call and let's talk about those. Loans under $25,000. Now look, I'm going to speak a lot in generalities. Again, because I write for so many different banks, there's so many little moving pieces and parts here that could change the way a thing is structured. But in general, what we're seeing on loans under $25,000 are terms from 10 to 12 years with down payments between 5 and 20% are holding about 9.99 and up. This 9.99 and up depends greatly on your credit score and what the bank values the boat at and what you're putting as a down payment. my notes here on this page, Lightstream.com, which there's a link to right here, and there's also a link up in my links section to Lightstream. They are a great choice, generally for loans under $35,000 or honestly up to $100,000 if you can take a shorter term. Lightstream.com is a personal loan division of Truist, and they do not take a lien against the title. They do not record their name on the title. It's a personal loan. Again, up to $100,000, and at the time of this recording, I think they'll do 12-year terms on that. And let's say if you're borrowing $25,000, I think it's a 6-year term, but you can go to Lightstream.com and see that. For $25,000 to $50,000, I pick up a couple of other banks, and they will go up to 15 years as a term on a up to a $50,000 loan. Generally speaking, down payments start at 10% and go up. Rates get better as you get into 15% and 20% down, but as a general rule, that's going to start today at about 8.99 and go up. 50,000 to 150,000 is really a good sweet spot, with one of my banks in particular coming in at $75,000 and up, being a sweet spot for rates. That bank, let's call them Bank C, will write loans under $75,000, but they give a pretty good break on the interest rate if the loan is $75,000 or more after you make your down payment. When you get over that $50,000 mark, the term is the biggest thing here. It changes. You can go up to a 20-year term on most of our lenders. We do offer repower now and outboard financing. So if you have a boat that you own free and clear and you want to buy it, we have a bank that'll loan up to $50,000 for repower, which probably wouldn't get you to 300s, but at least it's $50,000, right? And then when you get into loans over $150,000, with a couple of our banks being $200,000, we're going to get into that 2 years taxes required. Private money loans, that's something we have a conversation on with you on the phone. We offer loans on items that maybe your normal bank wouldn't. This generally starts on items $200,000 and up. So as I stated earlier, if you walked into a bank, a local brick and mortar bank, they have one rate sheet to write from, and it's their rate sheet. So they know their rules and they know their guidelines and they know what the rates are right out of the gate. They don't have to ask you a lot of questions because they only have one rate, because they only have one product. If you go to a dealership to buy a boat new, or a boat that they own, not a boat that they're brokering most of the time, but a boat that they own, then they have a relationship direct with 2 or 3 banks, or they have a relationship with a service company that offers several different banks. And then there are people like myself who are loan brokers that we have relationships with banks all over the country, 10, 12, 14 banks at different times, and they all have their own niches, right? These banks we have relationships with will send us in email a list of basic underwriting guidelines along with the rates for those particular loan products. My example of Bank C earlier, they like 15% down in a 15-year term and 20% down in a 20-year term. And they really like loans over $75,000. That's when their rates start to get better, but they will write loans right on down to $25,000. When you call me or when you come and put in an application for purchasing a boat, I have to take into consideration all of those different moving parts. Are you buying it from a private seller? Are you buying it from a dealership? Is it new? Is it used? Has it been previously titled or Coast Guard documented? I start including or excluding certain banks. You're looking to buy a 2016 Contender 32 ST with a pair of 300s on the back of it. Then I know I can't go to this bank, or this bank because they're not listed in ADA. That's a video for another time, or you can read it in my blog on my website. But what makes us different from the dealer is that we aren't going to shotgun you out to multiple banks, at least not generally without having a conversation, because running you out to multiple banks is a bad thing. Now, I know people think, well, I can get my credit pulled as many times as I want to in a 30-day period and it doesn't hurt my credit. Not necessarily true in the recreational market. I came from the mortgage side of things before, used to write mortgages, and very familiar with mortgage laws and credit reporting models and that sort of thing. Now, that was years ago. But it is true that you have certain protections when you're rate shopping and shopping for a home or shopping for a car. But the CFPB doesn't generally extend that out, and the credit reporting agencies don't extend that out to recreational finance. Our job as brokers is to ask you the right questions to put you into one of the buckets on this website, right? What I mean by the bucket is, again, we're asking the questions. I'm asking you what year the boat is. I'm asking you all these different things to determine if I can fit you in to, let's say, this product under $150,000, over $75,000. Does your down payment put it into the right spot here? So let's talk about rate sheets. What I mean by rate sheets is every one of the banks that we write for has their own set of guidelines and their own set of rules of things that they like and things that they don't like, and what kind of loans they want on their portfolio. And they send us rate sheets for each one of those columns that I showed you on the website a moment ago. So Bank C, that's going to write $75,000 and up, has different rates at $150,000, and then $150,000 to $300,000, and $300,000 to $500,000, $500,000 to $1 million, $1 million to $2 million. They all have different rates and they have different requirements. And they also have the underwriting guidelines and requirements that may change. Some of our banks will not write in a certain state because they don't have a presence in that state. Some banks will write for boats that are over 15 years old. Some banks will write for boats that are over 20 years old. And those items are on those rate sheets. Now, I know you came here to find out what rate you might get on the boat that you're looking to buy. And I didn't do that, right? Now you're just thinking, gosh, this is as clear as mud. But what I hope you got from this was information and knowledge and tools. There are many, many, many different buckets to pull from when borrowing money for that dream boat. I have a lot of those buckets. I don't have them all. I may not have the best. And if I know that there's a better product out there that fits what you're trying to do, and a lot of my customers will verify this, I may direct you to a different place. I try to have the best choice in the industry. I try to make alignments with the right company and the right banks and the right products to give you as many things as I possibly can. But I don't always have the best tools. But I know where they are. And I may direct you that way. There's so much in this, and so many questions to be asked and so many questions to be answered. So I hope you come back. I hope you come back often, and I hope that you send me some questions. And if you want to know something and I don't know it, I love the challenge of learning a new thing and passing it on. So again, I want to say thank you. Like, subscribe, come hang out with me here on the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you have suggestions for things in the boat lending or boat money world of things that you want to see, shoot me a message, let me know. Maybe we'll cover that topic as well. Thanks.